From you're watching Your Trades, a fresh episode where we track the daily developments, the key highlights of the day, and we set you up for the next day. Also, the key brokerage reports and the entire action of the day. This is Priyanka Kapil, along with me, Snehi Shah. Snehi, of course, there was a follow buying today. Nifty touched another record high, and in fact, on the day of the expiry, Bank Nifty also did saw a swing of good 500 to 600 points. In all, a good day, and that to be on a day wherein we were anticipating some kind of consolidation because there was not much of
range-bound trading is what we did see coming in today as well.
Yeah, but then another record level on Nifty that was to cheer about, that we crossed 22,440 levels. Bank Nifty on the day of expiry round about a swing of 600 to 700 odd points we saw. That's all because VIX has significantly cooled off. No, we're talking about because of course there's the indication are clear that there are no big moves on the either side. The top sectoral gainers today were stocks from Media Pack, Sun TV being the biggest gainer. A couple of brokerage note there. Media Pack, PSC space, the entire energy pack, the PSU space, and the PSU banks, especially mid and small cap banks, they were buzzing in trade today. Defensive like FMCG, consumption stocks, they were on the losing side today. Broader markets also did pretty well. Small and mid cap both rising about 1%, closing with a 1% of gain today. Standout gainer again, yet another day of CG space, capital goods space. I think stocks like Elcon Engineering, Kirloskar, in fact to some extent power ancillary stocks, power stocks also at the same time. Transformer rectifier, it's the second day after QIP. Yesterday also it surged, and today again it was a top gainer from the entire space. Stocks from cables and wires, stocks like Universal Cable, they were the standout gainers today. Clearly, short covering move was seen in many of the stocks from different spaces like Concor, Excite, NMDC. Overall, a good day of trade with the Nifty, Bank Nifty, and broader market all surging in the trade today. And a lot of reports. Sun TV, we saw a brokerage note. Krishna Diagnostic, we saw. In fact, the entire rub-off was seen on the whole diagnostics place. And what are the other trades that you highlighted? A lot of action which we saw in affordable housing space yesterday. And today also we saw a couple of stock buzzing again.
Absolutely. We also spoke with a whole host of affordable housing players on the channel today. All of them had positive things to say about the PMAY. And the rub-off that we did see coming in yesterday, that has extended to not only the housing development companies but also housing financiers, the likes of Aavas. There you have it on your screen. You have Aavas, Aadhar, Aptus, Home First, India Shelter. All of these stocks have done pretty well in today's trading session as well, continuing the gains that they did see in yesterday's trading session, anywhere between 3 and 7% on all of those stocks today as well. But moving on, let's talk about some other headlines and other news pieces that in fact made headlines today. And one of the top news today that we did see coming in the middle of the trading day was Haldiram Snacks. That company was in focus, although unlisted. That tide is going to change for the company soon because reports, if reports are to be believed, and there are multiple media reports about this outside, we've also been hearing some chatter on the street. The Agarwal family, the owners of this company, are exploring a possible initial public offering or an IPO for the food producer as well as the restaurant operator, because this comes in because the sell-off that they were trying to get for the company, or the selling value that they were trying to gauge at 12 billion, they were not being able to meet that valuation outside. Bids came in only as high as 8 or 8.5 billion. Compared to the 12 billion they were expecting. So now they are going to be looking to the street to raise funds. This is what we are understanding from reports. Yet another big story was a shiny metal in focus, and today that was gold, because we learned that the government has amended its import policy on gold, and it's on 5 types of gold under the restricted category. On the backdrop of rising in gold smuggling, government has made this bold move. Precious and semi-precious stones and gold-studded stones imports have been revised to restricted as well. And we'll get more details on this in the later part of the show as well. But well, yes, the big event to watch out for tonight, very close to midnight, is going to be the FOMC rate decision. The street is largely expecting Jerome Powell to keep the overnight borrowing rate steady between 5.25 and 5.5%. But what's going to be super important to note is that shortly before the FOMC rate outcome comes out, the CPI for US is also going to be coming out. So watch out for that. And Jerome Powell is also going to be giving some important commentary on the outlook going ahead.
In fact, Snehi, this is the day when you have two economic data point coming in together, which has been seen as a very high important point. But the
Absolutely,
important focus is that are they going to make any tweaks for their projection for rate cuts this year? That's
Absolutely. Dot plot is indicating a certain amount of rate cuts this year, 1 this year and 4 coming in the next. And Janet Yellen is also going to be giving some key piece of commentary to the Treasury Secretary, of course, of the US. Lots to talk about and lots to discuss for tomorrow's trading session as well. So let's bring on board Ruchit Jain, the lead researcher at 5paisa.com, who's joining us to make sense of what we've seen in the market session today and how do we navigate for whatever's headed our way tomorrow. And Ruchit, my question is exactly that to you. What are you penciling now in terms of what Nifty could do tomorrow, since it's also the Nifty weekly expiry? We've also been seeing some range-bound trading session over the last couple of days. So tell us, what are you making of Nifty as well as Nifty Bank on the levels that you're spotting?
Hi, very good afternoon. Well, we have seen a V-shaped recovery in the markets in last 1 week. Last Tuesday, we were in that panic mode when VIX had hit a high of over 30. But again, most of that corrections, all of that correction, in fact, have been recovered, and we are trading at all-time highs again. But if you look at after that 4 to 5 straight trading sessions of up move, the momentum readings on the lower time frame charts are a bit overbought. So that needs to cool off before we head further higher. And these readings get to cool off either through a price-wise dip, where the index could come lower to form a higher low, or some time-wise correction where we could see a consolidation for 2 or 3 trading sessions before resuming any up move. Now, the support in this entire consolidation phase would be seen around 23,150 first, followed by 23,000. So I think it remains a buy and dip market rather than chasing at current levels on the index front. Any declines towards 23,150 or to 23,000 range, I think one should wait for such decline before entering fresh longs on the index. So but yes, the broader markets have been doing quite well. The mid cap index is trading at all-time high. The stock specific movement is quite positive. So while we may see some small correction in the index, but that would just be a part of an uptrend. So hence buy and dip strategy one should keep for the index. But it's good to take a stock specific approach for now, where the risk reward ratio seems quite favorable.
We are in an overbought zone, and you would not make any fresh buying at these levels. Rather, you would wait for dips to buy. So the strategy would be, of course, to trail your positions, to hold your position with trailing stop loss. And the trades that you would discuss here, will that be from small and mid cap space, since you mentioned it, Ruchit?
So, housing finance space is one sector which has done quite well in today's trading session, and my first pick from that would be LIC Housing Finance. And of course, the stock was up by about 4 to 5% today. But if you look at the price volume action, then firstly, the stock has given a breakout above its previous swing high resistance. Secondly, if you look at the volumes, then the volumes along with the price up move have been quite good compared to what we see on a daily average basis. So whenever we see such price volume action where breakout supported by very high volumes, the trends usually last for a bit longer. So I think although the stock is up today, but still there's a good opportunity to create fresh long. I think the stock has more legs on the upside, so one can go long with stop loss below 685 for potential targets around 760 in the near term. And SBI Life would be the second stock where we are taking some contra trades over here. So the stock has gone through a corrective phase since last few months. In fact, the entire life insurance space, if you see whether it's HDFC Life, SBI Life, ICICI Prudential Life Insurance, all these stocks have went through a corrective phase. But there are some signs that the price-wise corrective phase may be behind us. SBI Life, in fact, is on the verge of giving a breakout from a falling trendline resistance. So taking some contra trades over here provides a good opportunity. So one can go long on SBI Life with stop loss below 1420 for potential targets around 1500 to 1520 in the near term.
All right, Ruchit, thanks so much for taking us through your picks. LIC Housing Finance and SBI Life have made it to your radar. Thanks for taking us through those technical levels as well. But let's keep it going with the technicals then. And now we're being joined in the studio by my colleague Shrishti, who's tracking 2 stocks for us today on the technical charts. Shrishti, tell us what has made it to your radar today.
So 2 counters, one is on the breakout side and the other one is on the breakdown side, because for the technical pattern, whenever we see that the stock is retesting its resistance multiple times, the resistance level actually gets weaker, and once it breaks past those levels, the stock is seen to be spotting a breakout there. And similar is the case for the support retesting as well. We'll discuss about that, but firstly onto the breakout side, have a look at LIC Housing Finance, because I've been talking about the retesting of the resistance, and what we have have seen for LIC Housing. This level of 680, you can see that it has been retested for so many days, though this sector also had some news flow. But apart from that, if we talk about the chart pattern, then it was clearly a breakout, a strong green candle. The stock did close at the day's highest point, telling you the strength of the buyers, and this is the first stock that we wish to highlight on the breakout side. But on the flip side, though, a stock which has been on the roll, the sector has been on the roll, but what we have spotted today was a breakdown rather, because the stock has been in the uptrend. Though this was a dip, event day dip, but the stock did recover, but it is retesting its support of 440 odd levels. It did slip below its 20-day moving average, faced a rejection right out there. So this is the daily pattern that we have spotted for Vedanta on the breakdown side. So these are the two stocks that we wish to highlight, one on the breakout and the other one on the breakdown side. Back to you.
All right. Thanks very much, Srishti, for highlighting both the stocks to us and of course explaining the entire technical pattern also behind that. Let's step back and take you to another segment, which is the word from the wires. On the sidelines of the India Investment Forum, we caught up with Jonathan Garner, Chief Asia Emerging Markets Equity Strategist for Morgan Stanley. Listen in to find out where he's finding value in the Indian market space, Indian equity market space, and which stocks makes it to his list.
For our clients, they're inherently more interested in big cap because they obviously have a lot of money to deploy and they need that liquidity. So we like financials, consumer discretionary, industrials, and also real estate, where the market cap is maybe not so large. So some of the names that we recommend include ICICI Bank, Maruti Suzuki, Godrej on the real estate side. There's quite a broad array that you could invest in, but the key theme is really to go for the domestic demand plays across the piece really in India. We've done a lot of work about the power needs of AI, and of course India has a multiplicity of needs for additional power as it goes through this rapid phase of economic development, and so the right kind of power utility names make sense in India. And again, that's a thematic we've been writing a lot about recently, and there's ways to play that elsewhere in Asia, including actually in particular in Malaysia.
Ola, that was the word coming in from Jonathan Garner of Morgan Stanley. But viewers, with that, we'll slip into a very short break on this edition of Your Trades. You stay tuned, because when we come back, we'll take you through what the derivative space was up to today, given especially it was the Nifty Bank expiry and the levels to watch out for tomorrow. So you stay tuned.
Welcome back. You're watching Your Trades, and now the derivative action. The trend was, of course, for Nifty, Bank Nifty for this week also. It was long built up only, though Bank Nifty expiry it was today. But then the active calls for 13th June expiry happens to be 23,400. This was a resistance yesterday also, but we briefly touched it today, in fact crossed it today, but then post that we could not maintain those levels, and hence there was a call writing pressure on these strikes. 22,400, 23,500, these happens to be the immediate resistance levels, and maximum put writing was seen at the levels like 22,200, which happens to be the support, and the mild put writing happened at 23,300 levels. So let's watch out for Thursday. What happens to be the Nifty expiry day? Where do Nifty expires tomorrow for the weekly data? But then let's get you more stories. In fact, the big story of the week happens to be more of on the brokerage side only. Jinay gets us all the brokerage notes for the day. Sun TV, GMR Airports, and of course Krishna Diagnostics. What were the reason and what are the key takeaways from the broking house reports? Jinay gets us all the list. Jinay, over to you.
Well, so Sun TV is in focus as Axis Capital has come up with its ad rating on Sun TV with a target price of Rs 810. They expect the industry ad spends by FMCG companies to revive given the benefits led by RM deflation. Moving ahead, they expect that the company will be generating a free cash flow of about 1,100 to 1,200 crores on annual basis. Now, if the possible demergers of its sports business materializes, they believe that that will be a good value unlocking for the shareholders. Now, they're valuing the broadcast business at a PE multiple of 13 times and the broadcasting business at a PE multiples of 25 times. Also, GMR Airports will be in focus as Jefferies has come out with a report with a buying rating and the target price of Rs 100. So GMR management met investors at JEF Indian Equities Access Day in New York. Well, the management is focusing on developing airport platform strategy and consolidating the non-aero business. Their focus for FY 2025 will be on managing the leverage side, and also they're expanding at Delhi and Hyderabad airports to aid the growing traffic and also the non-aero revenues. Moving ahead, the co has also filed an application at DIL which may be implemented by Q4 of this FY 2025. And lastly, watch out for Krishna Diagnostics, as Systematics has initiated a buying rating with a target price of rupees 841 rupees. Now they believe that the reduction in capital intensities which will be enhancing the return ratios for the company, and in future they believe that the mix of overall industry will slightly be in the favor of radiology in future. So they've estimated a 30% growth in revenues and 47% growth on the front of earnings from FY 2024 to FY 2026.
All right, thanks Renee for getting us all these reports on Sun TV, JMR Airports and Krishna Diagnostics. But there were a couple of reports from the industrial space also, wherein key broking notes also talk about some stocks also. UBS has named CG Power, HAL and ABB as the top picks on the order backlog. Vinny's here to take us through the two more notes from Goldman Sachs on Thermax and also on Cummins. Vinny, over to you.
Absolutely, CG Power, HAL and ABB, their topics, that's the pecking order that they've picked out for industrials. Now, UBS is saying that they expect those policy initiatives to actually continue. Themes like defense manufacturing, electrification, mobility, industrial efficiency, they expect that to sustain going forward. And they also mentioned that, CG Power was one of those most talked stocks about, and that is why CG Power making the top pick in terms of the industrials for them. Other than that, let's not forget we did have Goldman Sachs come out with a note on Thermax as well as Cummins. Now, what they're saying is for Thermax, they see a positive demand outlook for the company. They expect power, steel, food, pharma sectors, something that will drive the demand for Thermax. And overall, they said the market will be looking out for much further than the next 2 years. They're overlooking the 2 years and above those 2 years as well. So keep an eye out on that. They've given a target price of 2,710 rupees and a bit of a sell rating that they're maintaining. But yes, that's a focus area. Cummins, they're maintaining the neutral rating, target price of 1,940 rupees. Overall, they believe the domestic demand is quite strong, and that is offsetting the weakness that they've seen in their export demand. And they see some bit of a moderation in was seen maybe due to the pre-buying that drove some of that was driven by the emission norms, changes in the emission norms. So keep an eye on Cummins. That's also where they're maintaining a neutral rating.
All right, thanks very much, Vinny, for highlighting all those notes put forward by Goldman Sachs on both the stocks. But then we get you another stock, IPO bound stock, Ola Electric, which has received a SEBI note for its IPO. We learned from our sources that Ola is looking to raise up to 5,500 crore via fresh issue. But what does this IPO mean for the street and for its peers? And how is Ola Electric stacked against big two-wheelers majors like TVS Motors, Bajaj and Hero? Srishti joins in with the big picture. Srishti.
Well, as Ola Electric IPO is indeed in focus, where we understand from our sources that it has finally got the nod for SEBI for the IPO, wherein there will be a fresh issue of 5,500 crores and the other will be an offer for sale where promoter Bhavesh Agrawal and the rest will be offloading the stake. But that was interesting to know because this has been in the talks for the past more than 1 year now. And what we are seeing is that all these two-wheeler companies did have the scope of a re-rating, because Ola's valuation is now expected to be close to $5.5 billion, because back in December 2023, where the latest funding round happened for Ola Electric, that happened at a valuation of $5.5 billion. And keeping that in perspective, the market valuation is expected around 46,000 crore rupees. Now, keeping the presence of TVS Motors, Bajaj Auto as well as Hero MotoCorp's Ather stake in view, all these companies have also present in the two-wheeler space, wherein in comparison, if we say, then since Ola Electric is the leader in the two-wheeler category, holding 49% market share and the market valuation is close to 46,000 crore rupees, then keeping in view that even TVS Motor is holding 18% market share there, and the expected valuation of their EV business with respect to what valuation Ola is getting, that is coming close to 17,000 crore rupees. Similar calculation we have done for Bajaj Auto. Now, what we did understand back then is that there was a lot of headroom in terms of the valuation gap, I would say, for all these two-wheeler companies, the traditional ones which have got the presence in the electric category as well. And for the past 6 months or so, if we see, then though these companies have been performing well on the financial terms, they have some other growth triggers as well, but there was a valuation headroom with respect to their two-wheeler business as well. But as per the analyst, what they do believe that for Ola Electric's valuation, that will be the key to watch out for. Some more updates are awaited, but this is this $5.5 billion valuation is at a slight premium to the TVS valuation. Key to note is that Ola Electric is still loss making at the bottom line, and they do believe that it could just break even in this particular year. So we have to wait out for the final valuation number on that front, but till now that's the update that Ola Electric finally got the SEBI nod for the IPO.
All right, thanks very much, Drishti, for highlighting and bringing us the big picture, that what it means for the street and how to draw the entire peer comparison. Thanks very much. But get you the next story, which is also again an IPO-bound stock, IPO-bound company, which is not listed, Haldiram's. Weighs IPO as sale talks stall. The promoter family, Agrawal family, which is considering a listing, and the bids that they've received, the region is around about in a range of $8 billion to $8.5 billion. However, it does not meet their valuation expectation of around $12 billion. And the company, they received bids in the month of May. The consortium, which is led by Blackstone, has Abu Dhabi as investor, Bain Company and Temasek also. But then now, after this entire development, IPO consideration, this is at the preliminary stages, and controlling shareholders may still decide to lower their ask for the price and the valuation. Let's see how this entire scenario pans out. But then at the same time, of course, there is a silver lining for the entire space also. We have listed players also. In fact, Gopal Snacks, wherein we had Mukesh Kumar Shah, CFO for Gopal Snacks, which sees that the wafer segment as a high margin business, and he aims about 40 to 50% uptick buy-on-buy basis. Let's listen into him.
Talk about our wafer segment, this is highly marginable, highly profitable product compared to our other products. And hence, with the increase in revenue coming from wafer segment, definitely it will help us in overall increase in the margin from a company perspective as well. At least 40 to 50% growth year on year in this segment. Currently, our annual revenue is close to 160 crores, which will definitely go to 300 and then 500 crore in next 2 to 3 years.
All right, that's what the word coming in from Gopal Snacks. Now, talking about another management, we did caught up with the management of InfoEdge, an optimistic word coming in from InfoEdge management earlier today. Early signs of recovery in US augurs well for the IT service industry. That's what he says. Mr. Pawan Goel. Let's listen into a pie from the entire chat.
FMCG is growing 17% year on year. Oil and gas is at 14%, travel hospitality at 8%, healthcare 8%, and BFSI is also doing very well. IT, which is, while it was on declining trend in last year, it's now flattened out. It's flat year on year. And however, if you look at the last 6 months compared to last 6 months trailing, there's a marginal uptick. But it's still too early to say that the IT decline is over. The third thing that when we look at job environment that shows up is non-metro. The Bharat part of India is doing better than metros. So while metros are flat, cities such as Ahmedabad, Baroda, Coimbatore, they are doing much better. Finally, this unprecedented demand for AI and ML. This is because of the generative AI work that we are seeing all over the world. There's a 37% year-on-year growth.
All right, so InfoEdge talking about the hiring edge. That's what the word coming in from Naukri.com. Moving on, let's get you more stocks which are buzzing in trade today. Gaurav joins in with the entire list. Gaurav, take it away.
Well, yes. First begin with Om Intrafa, because we know that Corn Mutual Fund has bought more than 16 lakh shares in this company, and if you look at the stock performance, it is up almost more than 17% in a day to day. Next, let's talk about TVS Supply Chain Solutions, because company has received 5 years contract from Daimler Truck AG for integrated supply chain solutions in Singapore, and on back of this news we saw the stock went up almost by 5% in a day to day. Next, let's talk about Rides, because Rides and Undle Diesel Shed has signed an MOU for locomotive maintenance from Eastern Railways, and with this, Rides will identify the business opportunities for further growth, and on back of this news, Rides is also going to be in focus. Som Distilleries is another stock which is going to be in focus, because Telangana state government has now cancelled the process of registration for Som Distilleries in the state, and because of this we saw the stock reacted negatively in a day to day. Next, let's talk about Shipping Corporation of India, because as per sources, the strategic divestment plan from government is on track now. There was a delay because of the election process, but now the sources says that this delay is not there anymore, and with this they are expecting to fetch almost 3,000 crore rupees by divesting the entire 63% stake of government, and on back of this news we will definitely watch out for SCI as well. And lastly, let's talk about Tata Communication, because World Athletics have signed a contract with Tata Communication for 5 years, and on back of this news we will definitely watch out for Tata Communication as well. So on back of the news flows, we will be watching out on all these stocks and see how they perform for investors in coming days.
All right. Thanks very much, Gaurav, for bringing all that news and information on the different stocks. Thanks very much on this. That's all in this edition of Your Trade. A lot of action on the macro front. Bank of Japan's three-day policy meet begins. FOMC second day, which concludes tonight, and we react on Thursday morning. And of course, Nifty expiry. We get you all the action. Till then, stay tuned to ET Now for more business and updates. Thanks for watching.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.